Welcome to this week's VPO Minute, brought to you by K-Tech Designs.
Hi, welcome to this week's episode of the VPO Minute. This week's question comes to us from John Walden. And John wants to know, how many protein stations do y'all recommend having on a property? Thank you for your question, John. I recommend setting up one mineral site and one supplemental feeding site per 100 to 125 acres of property. You can run fall camera surveys and winter camera surveys and figure out your deer density, and you might have to increase that a little bit, but I find that as long as you have one per 100 to 125 acres, you're generally pretty set to go. When you run into the bigger properties, say 300-400 acres or more, you can run into a problem with, if you have a high density, the dominant deer will take over a site and they push out the younger deer, and so they either have to come back at a different time when the dominant deer aren't there, or like I said, if you run into that, you might want to throw another feeder, someplace a little bit different so that the younger, less dominant deer will have a place to go and stay away from the dominant deer, and you'll have everything taken care of. So you may want to keep that in mind. But I think if you set up one per 100, 125 acres, you'll find you're pretty good to go. Thank you for your question. I hope you learned something, and we'll catch you next week on the VPO Minute.
To submit your question for the VPO Minute, visit us online at facebook.com/Vantage Point Outdoors. This week's VPO Minute was brought to you by K-Tech Designs.